Hi everyone, it's Becky here. So welcome to another new video on my YouTube channel. And today I'm hanging around Old Montreal. So first of all, I'm gonna go to a new cafe and have brunch. And so I always like to use Google Map to research about the nice cafes and restaurants and parks around the city. And here this one is called Packable. And they have a really cute little boat logo. Here I'm inside. I really like their checkerboard pattern for the flooring and very nice interior designs, nice shelves, great bakery items. Just looking around here. It's not a very big cafe, but it's pretty spacious vertically with an upstairs patio here. Yeah, so I'm standing right upstairs and sitting down waiting for my order. So I ordered a cup of latte with a breakfast wrap and salsa. And so I don't know when's the last time I was sitting in a cafe. It's been a very long time. I had a really intensive months working in the kids' summer camp. And finally it's done and I have my life back again. So yeah, I always love doing food and drink sketches to record, part of my life, my little meal here. So I started sketching the top of the mug with a circular shape and the floral details with lots of bubbles. And the body and the handle of the mug, nice and round. And drawing the circular shape of the little dish underneath the mug with the rim. And yeah, a little bit to show the depths of the little dish. And now I'm starting to draw this little cup of salsa, nice and quick. A lot of prism shapes and the spoon behind. Now I'm starting to draw the prism shape of this half of the wrap. Yeah, pretty clearly it's a prism shape, like a little piece of brick, and drawing the filling inside, eggs and the meat, and the burning marks from the grill. And this piece is also the form of a prism. As you can see 3 sides of this prism. And now I'm drawing the inner details, the egg, the meat, and a bit of veggies and cheese. Lots of cheese in here, and the grill marks. Yeah. And then just drawing the napkin underneath to give a sense of depth for the set. And now I'm ready to add watercolors. And so I'm just wetting the areas with a little bit clear water by squeezing my large tip Holbein Water Brush. And for the first layer, I'm adding the lightest tone. Usually the lightest tone in, sketching bakery item is like yellow. So medium yellow, and mix with a little bit lemon yellow for the eggs inside the wrap. A little bit of orange yellow for the crispy meat part. And adding the first layer for the latte, a mix of orange and a little bit of brown or burnt sienna. And adding the color for the salsa, which is a mix of red and brown. And also painting the body part of the mug with this happy yellow color. Yeah, and adding a little bit diluted yellow ochre to paint the surface of the tortilla wrap. Yeah, the tortilla wrap has a pretty light and mellow diluted yellow color. And second layer for the surface of the latte is a mix of burnt sienna with a little bit of blue, so the brown looks more intense. And using dotting brushstrokes to kind of skip around the bubbles to create this very special texture, the bubbly texture of the latte. And I really enjoy painting latte surfaces. Very enjoyable as always. And adding some more brown tones, leftover color from the latte. Even though these are different food items, they can have very similar colors. And same, the dark brown is used for the for the burning mark from the grill. So sometimes I don't draw the shape of the plate, but in this case, I feel like the outline, the shape of the plate is pretty important in supporting the existence of the two wrap pieces. Okay, yeah. So there's more harmony now with the circular line of the dish. And now I'm adding the light gray shadows around the bottom of the wraps and darker around the very bottom. So just dilute the paint in different ways with more or less water to control the tone or the intensity of the gray. And just grabbing some leftover brown to add it on the dried surface of the ceramic dish. Because ceramic, even though this is yellow, it's not just clean yellow. It's always reflecting other colors around it, having shade colors. And I always mix my own gray with blue, green, and purple to have this kind of dark purplish, lightly gray color for everything. And that's it. That's my finished brunch sketch. And now I'm ready to challenge myself to sketch this pretty complicated interior of the cafe downstairs. So I just moved to a different seat by the stairs so I can see much better of what's downstairs. And then I'd like to spend a minute or two to visualize the size and placement of those major elements of the interior. So I'm beginning with the very top around the ceiling, this wall on the left, and then this line over here connecting the ceiling and the large window. Drawing these cute little lamps on a bar on the ceiling. I'm just gonna finish the my design over there, up there, and these pipes. So as you can see, I'm just seeing in very simple geometric lines and shapes, and not really worrying about what I'm really drawing. What I'm doing right now is just to relax and see everything in shapes. This is like a large tube. It's like a pipe. I don't know what that's for. Maybe for cooking, or maybe it's for air conditioning. Yeah, a lot of tube shapes or cylinders, and also prisms, and also drawing these bars around the ceiling. A lot of lines trying to merge together. I think there's 1 point perspective here, adding the texture on the pipes. Yeah, so I really kind of like spent time drawing these old rustic interior stuff because it gives more identity to this cafe. It's part of Old Montreal, and the interior is really old-fashioned. And keep drawing there. I think I'm gonna stop there on the right hand side, just finishing this large tube and box. Yeah, so I'm gonna spend a little bit more time finishing the ceiling area before moving down to the large window in the middle, but still drawing these vertical lines to start establishing the depths vertically, and just drawing these brick textures on the wall there, and these letter designs in French. Very cool lettering. And these letters are all going upwards, just following the rule of the 1 point perspective. All of these lines and the direction of these letters are all trying to merge into a vanishing point in the middle of the sketch. And just keep adding some more larger details, the window frames, and starting to add this man waiting to order. Yeah, he was like standing there for maybe about 20 seconds, and I had enough time to capture his essential parts, like his shirt and his pants and the belt. And adding some details for the window frame. And now I want to add this lady just ordering her coffee. This is a side view. Yeah, so I just want to add these persons first because otherwise I will have overlapping lines. So I'm going to do that and then draw the window frames behind them. So one trick to avoid as much overlapping lines as possible is to draw the things in the foreground, or the things in the very front, not being overlapped by any other things first. Okay, and then draw the things behind them. Yeah, just finishing drawing the window frame, which is pretty fun to do. The sense of depth is getting more and more clear for this interior. And also added these lamps. There's also perspective going on with these lamps. They're getting bigger and bigger, closer to me. And starting to add this old laser disc player. And just drawing the brick texture very quickly. We don't really have to copy because there are too many bricks to count. Just get the pattern there. And adding some more. There's this cute little house plant there on the windowsill, and starting to add the countertop and the bottom of the counter. Yeah, the counter is a large, long prism. Yeah, and the little part of the bench behind the guy, underneath the windowsill. Add a little bit of accentuation around the countertop, and starting to draw the coffee dispenser over here, and the espresso machine with all the mugs and cups on top. Yeah, lots of little circular disc shapes to show the shape of mugs in bird eye view. And now I'm drawing this girl barista. It's the side view of her face. She had long hair, pretty happy, always chatting with her teammate. And then finishing the shelf for the laser disc player, and it's pretty dark inside the shelf layers. And adding this barista with hair bun, and she's pretty busy making a cup of coffee. She's getting her gesture in a really fun way. And it actually takes a lot of drawing experience to know which lines are actually essential to establish the three-dimensional interior space, and also the mood of the place as well. Okay, so don't worry if you can't reach this level yet. It takes so many years of patience and practice to really know how to capture the essence of a place with, less lines. You don't have to draw every single line that you see. So when you're seeing artists drawing and painting, it seems like they're making it look so easy, but it's actually not easy to simplify. So the process of drawing and painting is all about simplifying what you see into abstract lines, patches of colors to express your sensations. It's not a very easy process, and all you can do is just to practice, practice, and practice. And you need to interact with your own environment to generate your personal abstract symbols to express what you see. Okay, so learning from other artists and copying their work is okay, but over time you do need to form your own personal abstract ways of expressing what you see. Okay, so back to this drawing experience. There are numerous leaves on the wall, so I'm just kind of like using my impression to draw those leaves. I know the leaves might be a little bit big compared to the real life, so sometimes you could draw a little bit bigger than real life to show the shapes better. Yeah, there's a lot of overlapping leaves, and also drawing from my memory as well. Yeah, so of course there's no need to capture every single leaf that's in the right place. All we need to do is to capture the form of growth of the veins and the leaves. And now I'm just drawing the menu. Yeah, the letters are actually pretty small within those rectangular little panels. And that's that. And I'm not going to draw a frame for this sketch. Just let it flow nice and loose around the edges to let the viewer imagine the expanding interior. And now I'm just drawing these squares of tiles on the floor and using black ink to color some of the pieces that are black. Just so this sketch now it has even more density, was more than just lines. And also I'm accentuating the pattern of the flooring pretty clearly by using black ink. Also adding some more accentuations. The window frames are also black, and so I'm using black ink to color in those frames as well, but not coloring in fully, leaving some tiny little streaks to show the shine of the window panels. Yeah, so I feel like these denser black lines and black shapes, it really helps this sketch to look more organized and have a sense of focus around the middle. And now just adding some last bit of details on the right hand side, those veins and leaves. There are lots of climbing houseplants in this cafe interior that I really like. It adds a sense of organic garden feel. And now I am switching to a thinner fine liner pen to add the name of the cafe, which is a mirror image seen from the inside. And the railings of the patio outside, lots of parallel lines, and then starting to draw these people sitting at the tables, chatting with one another. They look a little smaller compared to these two people in the foreground. And again, I'm keeping it pretty simple by just adding those essential details, those little people shapes. Yeah, just their head and their body and maybe their legs showing a little bit. And their body gestures sitting on the chair. Just simplify each of their body parts into simple geometric shapes like circles, trapezoids, squares, and long rectangles. Yeah, that's it, just to make it really simple. And now I'm ready to paint watercolors. Just kind of wetting the overall space with clear water and adding a bit of sunshine yellow for both inside and outside. So there's that brown canopy right outside the window, and also using the same brown to paint the bricks on the left and right of the window, wetting the ceiling area with clear water, and also painting those white tiles with a little leftover gray, because those white tiles are like aged, so they're not perfectly white. And also using the leftover gray, I like to mix my own gray with green, blue, and magenta for those pipes, leaving the shining streak in the middle of the pipe to show 3-dimension. Yeah, so that long pipe in the middle is actually a very long cylinder, and adding some more warm yellows and yellow ochres for the tables and railings outside, and also for the shelves inside. Just playing around with these muted colors because the interior is actually pretty vintage. And also adding some leftover green for these veins and leaves. Another layer containing more paint pigment and less water. This is how we make our paintings pop up even more, just to control the amount of water mixed into the color. Yeah, keep adding some more grays around the ceiling area, around in between the gaps. Yeah, so the colors are gradually getting into medium. Now I'm adding some medium muted yellow tones mixed with yellow ochre and a little bit of orange for those shelves and the panels, the menu board, and some leftover gray for that countertop of the shelf. And around over here again, I'm keeping my color scheme very, very simple. We don't have to use a lot of colors when painting a scenery, because the less color that we use, actually the more unity that we can create in the painting. Yeah, and just quickly painting these people's outfits from memory. And also add some more values for those white tiles. They're not perfectly white. And painting the outfits for these baristas. Trying to use some more warm colors just so to attract the viewer's attention, like pink, purple. And yeah, gradually adding some more stronger tones of gray, containing a little bit more paint pigment and less water. Okay, so painting watercolors is all about adding the values gradually, not right away. And then painting these letter fonts. And that's pretty much it for this sketch. I'm keeping it really simple and not overwork it. That's the look of my finished sketch. Yeah, so right now I'm using a brand new Etchr everyday sketchbook for mixed media, and I really enjoy working with this paper. And moving on, here I am at Notre-Dame Basilica, about 5 minutes walk from the cafe. And as always, it's always full of people, tourists. Yeah, here's this large plaza with a really nice 360-degree view of the heritage buildings of Old Montreal. Okay, so after walking around a little bit and enjoy the church bells, I'm ready to do a quick sketch. It's very hot. As you can see, the sun is right behind me, and I'm planning just to finish this sketch in about 25 minutes or so. Okay, so as always, I draw directly with my ink pen without using any pencil help. So I've already kind of visualized the size and placement of those major parts of this whole basilica building over here, and so I know I'm not drawing way too big or too small. Yeah, so the top part is kind of like in symmetry, the left and right is kind of like two candles, and then keep continuing it with more vertical lines, different sections, and starting to connect the contour outline of the foliages on the left side of the basilica. I think it's very important to add these greeneries because the building is mostly gray, and these greens are gonna add more life to this scenery. So again, decision making is pretty important. And when drawing the contour outlines, I'm just focusing on seeing, just pretty much like drawing in the blind contour way by looking at the real scenery, the outline in front of me in real life, and not looking at the paper too much. If we look at the paper too much, we're going to start judging and start self-criticizing. So yeah, when drawing organic things like that, like trees, I like to draw in a relaxing way by just looking at the shape in front of me without looking at the paper too much. And now I'm starting to add some horizontal lines that divide this tower into different sections, and then beginning to draw this window on the very top, and the inner details like little circles, panels. Yeah, so the design of a lot of architectural shapes are actually combined with a bunch of simple lines like circles, short and long, vertical or horizontal lines. Yeah, another circle in the middle, and another pretty nice shape for the window on the next floor. So when you look at a really complicated building and you really want to sketch it, don't stress out. You really have to focus on the general largest outlines and shapes first, and then move on to the medium and small shapes, step by step. Okay, and now I'm just drawing these castle lines around the middle of the basilica. Yeah, a lot of repetitions as well. So when you're repeating, you don't have to be mechanical. Yeah, every part could be a little bit different because we're humans, we're not machines. We don't have to be mechanical. The imperfections actually add more life to our sketches. And then adding this cross in the middle. And drawing these pretty long horizontal lines. Again, just relax. You don't have to draw perfect straight lines. Especially when you're doing urban sketching, when you're putting your sketchbook on your lap, it's not a very sturdy surface. So even for me, I can't really create perfect lines. And drawing these nice arcs with borders and these poles in the middle into two sections. Yeah, and I'm gonna just leave the bottom of the basilica nice and loose without adding any more details around the bottom. Just let the viewer to imagine what the bottom looks like, and adding some more borders around these frames and these statues in the middle. So I'm just simplifying these statues because I'm sitting pretty far from the building. Just starting with the head, which is circular shape, and then the torso, kind of like from my impression. Doesn't have to be full of photorealistic. And adding some more brick textures, nice and loose, with very quick lines. And same for the tower on the left. Yeah, keeping these lines very loose and disconnected. And now I'm starting to draw the tower on the right side. Is under renovation. And so a lot of scaffolds around the exterior. Yeah, so it looks kind of messy. So I'm just focusing again on the simplistic lines and shapes. Most of these shapes are big and small rectangles. Okay, just keep drawing these. And again, I don't care too much about the exact size that I'm drawing. Just make sure I just capture the feel of this part under construction and the window behind the bar here. Adding a little bit dark ink. Yeah, so most basilicas are designed in symmetry. So this tower on the right is pretty much the same as the tower on the left. So a lot of these horizontal lines are actually aligning with the ones on the left. So that's easier. And then keep adding some more details, but not too much detail. These details are actually very essential, the sections. And some more scaffolds and vertical lines. And drawing this window behind the scaffold bar. Yeah, and the frames. So once we get the overall, the general structures correct, those details just comes very easily. Okay, and it just takes a bit of your patience to get these details done. Patience is also a very important factor in keeping up with your sketching progress. And just keep adding some more shapes like arcs here and there, and frames, and the brick texture a little bit. And now I'm starting to draw the side on the left. So this tower is in a rough shape of a prism, a tall prism, and there's more scaffold structures on this side. In drawing very quickly and also roughly. Yeah, because I don't want to work too much on these scaffolds, which I'm actually not really interested in drawing. Just, summarize what I see. And just adding some minor details like these tiny little squares on the castle lines, and some more very loose lines for the brick texture for the middle area. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, some more brick textures. I'm drawing very quickly. Again, this is not copying. This is more kind of like drawing from impressions and then a little bit of memory work. Yeah. And that's it. That's my finished line work. So it took me about 10 to 15 minutes to do, and now I'm ready to add watercolors. So as always, when painting a landscape or cityscape, I like to paint the sky first. In this case, it's pretty simple. I just wetted the sky area with clear water and adding a little bit of cerulean blue, mix it with a little bit of green, so it's kind of like a turquoise color. And using brush strokes to show the moving air in the sky. The turbulence. The sky is never perfectly still. It's always moving, even on a perfect sunny day without any clouds. Yeah, a little darker blue tone around the bottom. That essence. So I'm actually interacting with this paper in a different way compared to the Perfect Sketchbook that I used before also from Etchr. That one is intended for watercolors. This one is for mixed media. So the way it takes watercolors and brushstroke is actually pretty different. Yeah. And now I think the sky is done. And I just adding some Viridian green mixed with a little bit of medium yellow for the first layer of the foliages. And using large and choppy brushstrokes to show the feel of leaves. And second layer, wet into wet, some fresh medium tone of green, for example, Viridian green, or any darker tones of green that's in your palette. So you don't have to copy exactly what you see. You can always use vibrant colors to bring out the beauty in the everyday. And now I'm just wetting the building area with a little bit clear water and just putting on a very much diluted yellow ochre and a little bit of raw umber, wet onto wet, nice and loose and very diluted. And in certain areas, I'm putting in less water into the raw umber, so there's a bit more variety of this layer for the building. Yeah, that's how it works. We don't have to use that many colors, because we can always stay with the same color, but control the amount of water mixing into it. And it's been blending some more vibrant yellow ochre for the top. That's exposed to more of the sunshine. And mixing a little bit of cobalt blue into the raw umber to create shade colors. A little bit here and there on the surface of the basilica, especially inside around the statues, because it's sinking in, there's a bit of shade inside there. And also for the side of the scaffold with lots of black railings and nets. And also for the windows. Some more intense shade inside around the statues. And some more tiny little bits of shades underneath those horizontal bars around that tower. And now I think I'm ready to add the third layer for the foliages. It needs some more contrast because it's in the foreground. Things in the foreground, it needs to be more detailed and of more depth. So yeah, this third layer is like a Viridian green mixed with a little bit of burnt sienna and containing less water, so this color is more intense. And as you can see, I'm using brushstrokes to show the direction of growth of those leaves. So these brushstrokes are not actually random brushstrokes. Every single brushstroke is my sensation of how those leaves are layering on top of one another on that tree. So yeah, so they're not random brushstrokes. Yeah, so this third layer of more intense greens and the obvious brushstrokes is really adding much more intensity and point of interest to this sketch. Yeah, just keep adding according to my observation and sensation of how these trees are growing. And also adding some more intense shadows or shades around the building here and there with small brushstrokes, because the previous layer, when the paint dries, the color tend to fade away a little bit after they dry. So I kept on looking back at what I painted and adding these final polish of more intense dull grayish browns here and there. And also using these tiny little brushstrokes to show the brick texture. Yeah, so the building looks more dynamic and not too flat. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this sketch. Took me about 25 minutes to complete. And here's the look of my finished sketch. And thank you so much for following along with me in this day trip to Old Montreal. Thank you so much for watching this video, everyone. If you like it, please click like and leave me a comment below. Subscribe to my channel for weekly updates. So I up this channel about 2 times a week. And here is a vintage store selling different kinds of creative signs. Yeah, really fun to look at. And have a great day, everyone. See you around next time.